you tell me what you think is happening with the Bitcoin account, where you have Harvey saying, I see activity, but I'm not going to say what I see. You have the local outlet saying, we see activity, and it's $300 that was deposited. And then you have Harvey saying, I refuse to comment on the amount that went in there. But there is a report of $6 million being transferred into a Bitcoin account last night. Now, it has not been confirmed that it's the Bitcoin account, but there is a report that $6 million was transferred into a Bitcoin account last night. Harvey not shedding any light on it. Jim, you want to take a shot, Fitz, on anything happening here? Do you have any idea?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for coining a new term for us profilers, quote, creepy ass video. We're going to add that to our lexicon of assessments from now on. And also, I'm aware of, and I'm going to answer your question, but I understand in the last 6 months to a year, Netflix, when a series comes to them, the protagonist, someone in the show, has to, like, every half hour summarize it for the viewers because they have ADHD. They're on their phone at the same time. They have to summarize the facts of either the real or fictional story they're telling. So if this thing ever goes to a series or movie, and I hope it does, and with a happy ending with Mrs. Guthrie being, fully recovered, there's going to have to be a lot of explanations, because even listening to you for the last half hour, Megyn, I'm still a bit confused about all the Bitcoin stuff. But the important part is, we're on the outside. We're hearing truncated and partial versions of everything that the FBI knows for fact. It doesn't mean by fact they have all the answers to it, but they have a lot more pieces of their puzzle put together than we do. And they have experts full time looking at this Bitcoin stuff, which I'm learning a lot more, in the last few days about how that whole cryptocurrency concept even works. It seems like it is traceable when people start removing money, but not up until that point. So, and the FBI has ways of doing it. So there's a lot of, jetsam and flotsam going around here in this case. I think the FBI, again, they're going to have this segmented, like I said before, on this task force. There are multiple squads or units set up, and I guarantee there's a Bitcoin squad. They're just focusing on this part of it. There's someone else just focusing on the email address of these alleged ransom communications that came in. And of course, others with the family, others with the material now on this video. I think the prime aspect of the investigators at this point, they're looking at everything we just said, but they're going to focus on the video from yesterday. That is a treasure trove of visual information, but also behavioral. And we can get a little bit into, down the line, what folks should be looking for.
Well, wait a second, because I do want to talk about the video, but the reason I want to stay on the Bitcoin, Jim, and the reason I went to you first is yesterday we talked about tickling the wire.
Yeah.
And if you tell me whether that $300 deposited, if that's what it is, KGUN is saying it's $300. Harvey's saying, I'm not going to say because I told people I wouldn't say. So to me, the way it reads to me as a reporter is Harvey agreed not to reveal any specific ins and outs of the Bitcoin account, but KGUN apparently did not agree to that. And they're telling us that what was deposited into the bad guy, and this may or may not be the kidnapper, but it's definitely the ransom demander. They're saying it was a $300 deposit. And you tell me whether that would be something the FBI would do to see maybe what happens is when there's a deposit in your Bitcoin account, you get an alert. You don't know how much it is, but you click on something that makes you identifiable, that makes you trackable now to the FBI. And the first thing I thought was you're tickling the wire thing.
Yeah, and I brought that term up the other day with you, and I appreciate you bringing it out here again. That is something that's possible here. It's being, and what I've said in so many words, or certainly intimated, and it's probably been happening all along, but doing things not just reactively on the part of the family and the FBI, but proactively. And if it is this $300 or whatever the amount may be, somehow going into this account as a test deposit or however they would look at it, that would make perfect sense. We're only getting that reported, second hand. We'll say that from TMZ. So we don't know for a fact that that's actually what happened. But it certainly wouldn't surprise me if that's something the FBI is doing to generate some sort of activity somehow. But also, even with this video being released, we know that video person is the abductor. Why aren't there more proofs of life being put out there or even requested? So a lot of stuff going on here. And the Bitcoin part of it may wind up resolving this matter, but I still think it's going to be other more gumshoe type work that we can talk about later.
I mean, you tell me, Maureen, whether you think that's the FBI, because who else would be putting $300? Nobody has that Bitcoin address other than the person who wrote it demanding $6 million, law enforcement, and now 3 news organizations. And it's not going to be the 3 news organizations making it. They would not mess with any sort of thing around this. I'm sure. So it's got to be the FBI, does it not?
Well, I agree. There's a good chance it's the FBI. And my understanding is with a Bitcoin account or Bitcoin wallet, you don't always get alerts unless you have a service that provides alerts and you have, in fact, signed up for those alerts. There would really be no way to tell that unless you put money in, fingers crossed. Let's hope that whoever this person is does exactly what you said. And I'm just going to log in and see if it's $6 million or $300, you know? So I think it is a way to, what we've seen here over and over in many different ways down all different kinds of lanes is attempts to open the lines of communication between the family and law enforcement as one unit and the perpetrators of both of these crimes.
Well, here's the other thing. What if it's not $300? What if KGUN is wrong? And what if this $6 million transfer in Bitcoin that's been documented, we don't know whether this was deposited into the Bitcoin account. What if they did pay? What if they paid the ransom after the deadline, given how hot this case got yesterday, the prospect of, oh my God, now we see there is a man for sure. He's out there. He's panicked. We're going to give him his money because we talked when we hung up yesterday, when we said goodbye to each other. Now that this guy's face is everywhere, albeit behind a mask, what's he going to do? Is he going to panic? Is Nancy Guthrie, if she's still alive, in greater danger right now? And I just wonder whether if I'm the Guthrie family, at that point, I say, I'll pay it. Put it in the account. I don't care. It's a small price to me, especially with all these rich friends, and Savannah's rich too. I'm going to pay it. And I don't care whether it's a fraudster. It's an insurance policy. I mean, how does that grab you, Maureen?
I agree. And when you think of how we felt yesterday, all of us collectively, and I mean, I'm sure the family, law enforcement for sure, all of us watching those videos live coming on, and you're saying, hey, there's another one. What was happening? Our adrenaline levels were just rushing. Our veins were surging with adrenaline. And so were those in law enforcement. Now they've got a guy who they're looking at, whose phone pinged in the area at one point or another. And, so the Guthries were feeling the exact same thing. They were all feeling this rush of something's got to be done. I mean, your brain screams that in your head. So I could easily see a scenario where they would, in fact, pay that money just because they got caught up in the emotion that so many of us were trying to just slow it down, simmer down. But you don't have that luxury when it's your loved one.
And I can also see why they wouldn't want it publicized if they did pay.
Right.
Because whenever you pay the ransom, you're basically inviting more kidnappings. I mean, there would be pushback from many to pay it because in a way you endanger others who are in the public eye and their family. It's not your fault, but paying the ransom does have the unfortunate side effect of endangering others because it rewards terrible behavior, terrible criminal behavior. Mary Ellen, you're an expert in trying to figure out the profiles of these people who do this. And I wonder now, having heard, we don't know whether the ransom notes, for short form, that's what we're calling them, are in fact from the abductor. We do know there's an abductor beyond doubt now. I mean, we have his picture. But having heard what's in the ransom notes, which Harvey Levin has been repeatedly describing as from someone who is intelligent, that they are well written, that there are no grammatical errors. And then you see this guy yesterday who saunters up to the Nest Cam, doesn't seem to have a clear plan, kind of messes with it a little with his gloved hand. That doesn't work. It doesn't come off. Like he hasn't thought about it prior to getting there, then tries to cover it up with vegetation. Are these two things consistent in your mind? And have you been thinking at all about a profile for this guy who took her?
So that's a great question. I think it's possible it could be the same person. The fact that he walked up there, and what was really striking to me, because it's hard to know, is this a really good writer? Is this someone who's really articulate when he puts pen to paper? But the comfort level that he seemed to show, at least in my opinion, he was very casual. He didn't seem to be nervous. He just seemed to walk up and to be comfortable, that knowing that within moments he was going to get into the home and commit one of the most violent crimes we know of, which is kidnapping. And you did not see if he was feeling stress, if he was feeling anxiety. It didn't come through in his behavior. And I thought that was very interesting. And that could be part of his personality makeup. It could also be part of the fact that he's thought this through, and there's a certain amount of planning and preparation that he went through. Now, whether or not we can extrapolate that and say he's also a good writer, he's not a good writer, I think what we could say is that this is someone who probably is fairly manipulative, someone that lacks the ability to empathize with the victim and what he's about to do. Mm-hmm. So would there be a willingness on his part to send those notes about the ransom that would be extremely painful to the family as another form of just extreme violence towards the family or extreme cruel treatment? I could see that happening, but I'm not at the point right now that I'd say that he's one and the same or totally different.
International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.